Welcome back to No Sticks, No Bricks. We actually have a real travel day today. What do you think, Axel? You ready for a travel day, buddy? He's pretty excited, as you can tell. We're heading towards Chicago. Jen's got a VA appointment there that was moved from Indiana to Chicago. So we're gonna stay at a Harvest Host about 60 miles outside of Chicago tonight. And that way she can just take the Jeep into Chicago and then we'll link back up on our way to Iowa. So thanks, Indiana. It's been a pleasure. We're ready to move on though.
Three, two, one.
Here we go!
All right, we are at the Harvest Host, Anderson Vineyard and Winery. Spent the night here last night. It's not too bad. It was only us and then two other RVs over in this section over here. It's kind of split up into two different sections. It's pretty nice. We ate dinner here last night, had a glass of wine, and then we just kind of relaxed. Let me show you this parking lot. They've got live music and stuff on Saturday nights underneath the tent there, and it's all lit up, so that's going to be pretty cool. But we won't be here. Time to head on to Iowa. Jen's already left for her VA appointment, so she is on the way to Chicago right now. And then when she gets done, we'll link back up at a TSD fuel station and continue on. I have to have all three dogs with me today though. The girls usually travel with Jen, but of course, since she's going to be at her appointment, they're going to be riding with me. Up front, Axel will be in the back. So, me and three dogs. You ready to go? You ready to go? Okay, hold on. Wait, wait. Wait. Okay, go. Hey, buddy, it's coming like a wrecking ball. There you go. There you go, itty bitty. There we go. Let's get them all secured up. All right, we made it to my mom and dad's farm here in Iowa. We're gonna be here for a couple weeks, just relaxing and spending time with family, do a little mooch stocking. So my mom and dad last year, they put in a 50 amp plug for us, so that's pretty nice. At least we have some power, and that's good because it's supposed to get really hot, humid. We're supposed to have a bunch of storms coming. Iowa's just been getting hammered by storms this year, so fingers crossed that we don't have anything too crazy. So this is where I grew up. We actually moved to this specific farm when I was 12 years old. My grandparents lived here before that. My dad grew up here as a child. Before I turned 12, we were actually on a different farm, probably about 10 minutes from here, that my mom and dad were renting. Unfortunately, my grandfather died of a heart attack when I was 12 years old. My grandmother wasn't gonna live out here by herself, so she moved, and my mom and dad moved into this farm and ended up buying it later. My grandfather milked a whole bunch of cows here when I was a kid and had hogs as well, and then when we lived here when I was a kid, we had hogs, and then we planted corn and soybeans. That was our main crops. I baled a lot of hay, walked a lot of beans, which means you go out to the bean field and cut out all the volunteer corn that grows up from the year previously. Used to go out to the fields and pick up rocks every year, because when you turn over the soil, you often bring up a bunch of big rocks, and you don't want that out in the field. It could damage your equipment. But these days, my mom and dad are now retired, and they no longer farm. In fact, the buddy I went to high school with, he city farms the land out here. Part of it anyway, but part of it is also CRP land, which is a bunch of flowers and stuff to bring back wildlife. So they're under contract for that for a few more years before it'll eventually turn back into farmland. But these used to be the hog pens right here. This wasn't grass at all. This was just all dirt, and all the hogs would roam around here. Over there, that was our farrowing house. That's where we would bring the sows in to have babies. So I remember having lots of little piglets every year when the sows would have their babies. This old silo here behind me was my basketball court. This is where my basketball hoop used to hang, and fence for the hogs used to be about right here, and then so I had this area right here as my basketball court. So that's where I played a lot of basketball right here. In fact, my mom and dad still have my old hoop. Let me show it to you. There's Big Booty Judy. Got her in here because they're calling for some hail and stuff. So we don't want any damage to Big Booty Judy. There's my old basketball hoop. We were pretty poor when I was a kid. My dad actually made the back for the basketball hoop out of plywood. So it worked though. This is our old barn, and my grandfather, when he milked cows, this is where the cows would come in. And then when we lived here when I was a kid, this is where we'd have hogs in here. I remember when it would get really hot on summer days here in Iowa, and I'd be standing at the windows over there with the hose spraying the hogs, trying to cool them down because hogs don't sweat. This building right here behind me, that was our milking parlor when my grandfather was here. That's where they would bring the cows into the stalls. He would milk them, and then, you know, they release the cows back out to the gen pop. I want to show you something that's kind of cool in here. So here's the old milking parlor. It still has the glass tubes where the milk used to run. Let me show you this. Here's the old glass tubes. And that's where the milk would run through, and then there was I believe there was a big milk tank right here. And then this is where the cows would come in. This was not filled in, this was all lower. My grandfather and dad and his brothers would stand here, milk the cows, and then they would run through these tubes into this room and into a big tank. But what I wanted to show you is what my sister and I did when we were little kids. Check this out. This is the year that we moved out to this farm. It says Jason Beatty was here August 10th, 1985. And then my sister wrote it too. And my grandfather had actually written up here, hard to see on the camera probably, but he said started using this milking parlor October 1st, 1956. And he quit milking October of 97. So he milked cows for almost 25 years in this milking parlor. Look at this old pencil sharpener. I always love coming back home and walking through the old buildings, and it's like going back into a time machine. Let's go check out the corn. It looks really good this year. When we were back here this time last year, the corn was a lot smaller. They had a really dry year. This year's been a lot wetter, so the corn looks much better. Tell you what though, traffic around here is insane. You gotta make sure you look both ways. Whew, luckily we got a gap. All right, let's check it out. Alright, so you can see that they're starting to get ears of corn. Look at that. They're just little guys right now. We got, oh my gosh, I hear a car. See? We barely made it. But it's clearly way over my head. And so it's looking really good. These are the tassels. I remember detasseling these when I was a kid, which involved pulling those tassels out, and that was for pollinating purposes. It's like the field of dreams. We've ran into a lot of people on our travels that think all this corn is sweet corn, but it's not. It's grain corn, basically. If you do want the corn to pollinate, then it becomes seed corn. So there's a difference. And seed corn is you basically replant it and it grows new corn. And if it doesn't pollinate, then it becomes grain corn. I think I got that right anyway. It's been a few years. If I'm wrong, just post down in the comments and let me know, but I think I got that right. Well, looks like the traffic jam's gone. It's so peaceful out here. We really enjoy coming home and seeing mom and dad, of course, and visiting my grandmother, who's gonna be 97 years old on Thursday. So do me a big favor, jump down in the comments, say happy birthday to my grandma. 97 years old and 2 more days. This building in front of me here is our granary, and that's where we used to put grain in on either side of the building, and then in the middle it housed tractors or whatever we needed in storage. There's the Jeep. Undercover. We don't want any hail damage on the Jeep either. Axel loves being on the farm. Look, no leash. Huh. You like being free? You like being free? Yeah, you do. So here's all the CRP I was talking about earlier. Back that way, there's a rock quarry that I used to swim in and fish in when I was a kid. And there's also a river back there, the Wapsie-Pinnakin River, which is actually flooded right now. Jason and Julie from Destination Full-Time were out here the other day, and we took the 4-wheelers back to the river, but we couldn't get all the way back to where we normally go because of the flooding. We still had fun though. I want to show you something else that's gonna blow your mind. When I was a little kid, when my grandparents actually lived here, I used to jump over these trees. My sister and I, we would run around the yard and we would hurdle these line of trees, these pine trees. Now look at them. No more hurdling those trees. Okay, I just talked to my mom. She's like the expert on the whole corn pollinating, detasseling thing. And this is probably gonna blow your mind too. Did you know that there's actually male and female corn? So when you're detasseling, when you're pulling those tassels out, you're pulling them out of the female corn stalks only, not the males. So when farmers are planting the corn, they're actually planting males in rows, females in rows. And as you're walking down the rows, you're pulling the tassels off the females, and then the males can send their pollen over to the female. They pollinate, create more corn, which becomes seed corn. Pretty crazy, huh? I do have a couple things I gotta take care of on the RV while we're here. We've had 2 things break since we got here. Number one, our water pump went out, so we're actually hooked up to water right now. We just got it running across the driveway. Just got the new pump today, so I need to install that tomorrow. And then right after that, I went to open up my basement door here, and one of the latches broke. So that'll be here on Friday. And there's the good one, and there's the bad one. I wonder what the third thing's gonna be, because it always happens in threes. Here we go. We're under a tornado warning and it's close. So luckily we're on the farm. We're heading over to my mom and dad's house. We got a go bag. We're going to the basement. All right, go. You got the go bag already? Come on, let's go. Come on. Holy cow, look at all this water. Go, Axel, in the back. I hear the siren. Go. Go, Axel. Oof. That's ugly. Ooh, wow, look at that wall cloud.
Really pretty over there.
Wow.
That looks like it's got some rotation over there.
Yeah.
It's kind of got a little bit of a greenish hue to it.
Yeah. Those are the ones you want to watch out for. Wow, look at that. Mother Nature is amazing. Oof. Yeah, it feels nice. See, now that would be a cool hyperlapse to get, but I'm afraid to put the drone up now. Probably get struck by lightning. Well, the wind's really starting to pick up, so it's time to go in. Holy cow, look at that. That is nasty. That's where a tornado warning is right now south of us. Confirmed tornado on the ground. It's not heading this direction, thankfully, but hopefully everybody will be okay. Holy cow, here we go. Yeah, it's about to get nasty.